Hey everyone, Rest here. Me and Emmanuel just got back from the Chicago Materia Cup this weekend. Um, I placed seventh out of I think 148 people were there, right? Was that the final count, Emmanuel? Do you know?
I think it was around that, yeah,
Yeah,
144, 145,
100.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And Emmanuel made top 32. Do you know what your last? I think your final placement was just 17 through 32. Yeah.
Yeah, they put it as like 31st, but we are not sure what it
Yeah.
was.
Um, yeah, and we're also joined by our good friend Pat, who was unfortunately not able to make it out, but we were keeping him in the loop. He was cheering us on from the stream, so yeah, we just kind of wanted to talk about pretty much everything like leading up to the event, how the event went, some stuff about our decks, and then like sort of the state of the game a little bit. Yeah, any initial things before we get into it?
Uh, no, the event was awesome. So that's why I'm here to join you and talk about it, just because I think it represented like the best of the community that drives this game. It was incredible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was my first ever. Actually, I think my first ever time traveling out for a card game. Definitely my first time traveling out for or to a major for FFTCG at least. And it was so much fun. Like this event was so great. I flew in on Tuesday, visited Chicago. It's funny because our prep, me and Emmanuel's prep for this event looked very different. Emmanuel, you got in on like Wednesday, and you were fucking practicing a bunch of different decks, trying to figure out how to decide what to play. Meanwhile, I was, I think I logged like 15,000 steps on Wednesday, and then like 30,000 steps on Thursday. We were
Yep.
just out the entire week, exploring the city because I've never been to Chicago before. Really cool city, great uh, place to visit for the tournament. But yeah, so I guess I do want to talk a bit about sort of the prep, especially like leading up to the event and like towards the start of the set, because I've been playing one deck for the entire set, but you've been like really struggling to pick a deck. I feel like, Emmanuel, do you want to talk
Yep.
about that a bit?
Yeah. This set, there's so much cool stuff to do that I genuinely did not feel like anything outright called to me. So for the first time, I think ever, on a Swiss tournament like this, I was completely on like a single deck tournament like this. I was completely undecided on what to play. Now, part of that is my fault because I genuinely didn't put in the time to explore what was out there. The weeks leading up to the event, I think I only played a couple times with you guys, maybe on a Sunday, and then when you guys came over, and we didn't play that many games.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I felt like I was like okay playing any of the top decks, but usually I'm pretty like good at finding one deck and sticking to it. I always say, stick with what you know, rather than what's necessarily the what you think is the best. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
better to play a deck that you've played 200 games on tier 2 than a game that you only played 10 games on and it's tier 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I did not follow my own advice this weekend. So while I didn't perform poorly, I definitely would have done much better, um, based on the fact that I felt that I changed or decided on the deck on Friday, and the event was on Saturday, and the only reps I put on that deck were that Friday.
Hmm.
And I think I kind of expected that the strength of the deck would carry me more than my knowledge of other decks, and that was definitely not the case. Uh,
Yeah.
so um, it did carry me somewhat. It's a very strong deck, and I'm like, okay, I do know like some of the lines, but even these decks, I think it's a testament to how some of these decks where people are like complaining about like, oh, this deck is so stupid, it's so broken, it does everything. Well, yeah, but you kind of have to know what to do with it, right? It
Hmm.
doesn't pilot itself. And I specifically had very, very weak knowledge of the aggro matchup. And had I practiced even maybe like a week before, I would have probably come way more prepared.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it definitely, I think, also affects like your stamina a bit throughout the tournament, right? Because like, um, at least for me, like was playing very similar deck, right? I was playing the Bart's version of this, and pretty much all of my matches when like none of them went to time. I'm pretty sure. I don't think a single one like went to time. I think the lowest we got was like 5-ish minutes left. But even like my control matches, like I played the Bart's Mirror and we were done within like 15-20 minutes maybe. So whereas like I feel like every time I was done, I would go check in on you and you were going to turns like every single time, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. The lines, like I said, were not intuitive
Hmm.
enough for me to see them. Uh, I think the only positive thing I can say about it is I did feel like I was learning the deck as I was playing it literally at the event. So
Hmm.
my matches just went better and better.
Yeah.
Like
I
my like every time it was better, a little better, and then I faced two mirrors in the finals versus or the last two games versus some very strong players,
mhm.
and I won both of them based on like the knowledge that I gathered on the previous match.
Yeah, I remember like us chatting between rounds and sort of like we would talk through some of your plays between rounds and then you'd be like, oh, okay, like I feel like I could definitely see you like leveling up with the deck through Swiss,
Yeah,
which is really cool. um and speaks to like your strength as a player, right? Um
we'll see.
but yeah, so yeah, I guess just like leading up to the event, I've been saying that I feel like Refia is probably the strongest deck in the game since like last set, which was a little bit more controversial, I feel like, but I feel like it's definitely like one of the strongest decks, if not the strongest deck right now, in this set at least. Yeah, I guess like what did like both of you feel about that?
Um,
Um,
I want to hear. Yeah, I was gonna say I want to hear because we're playing right. But Pat, were you looking at the stream the whole weekend?
I was watching the stream more so on the top 32 day, the second day.
Gotcha.
Um, but I just wanted to, I guess, comment on the decks and preparation because
Mm,
Chris, you're like a newer player to the game, like the newest one of us three at
yeah.
least. Um, but I remember like while prepping, we were testing, you were very, I guess, like worried about your like how you'll perform.
Yeah.
But like you were literally on this deck before the set even released. Like as soon as Bart's was like the first card spoiled at like the Winter Cups last year, and then you're already like off to the races with this list.
Yeah.
Like and
Yeah.
then you had so many reps on it, and me and Emmanuel were just like, man, you got this like in the bag. And then
Mm,
like you really did like the reps and the knowledge of the lines and everything really shows. And Refia is a deck that, especially the Bart's variant, it really rewards the lines, right? Like
mm.
the like what to tutor for at what time, things like that. And I think it really showed in your play this weekend. So congratulations on the qualification.
Yeah.
Thanks. Oh yeah, I guess
I,
I didn't mention in the start, but I my seventh place finish did qualify me for nationals, I believe. So top four at this event qualify for the nationals in September in outside of LA. I think who are the three people of the top? So I know Tori,
Tori,
Mike.
you, Jeff, and someone else.
No, not who got the qualification. People who were already qualified, because Tori already had his qualification.
Sam, Tori, someone else, maybe.
Did Sam? I thought Sam also got his qualification. It might not.
I don't know.
It was like me, Jeff, and okay, well, it's fine. It doesn't. Yeah, whatever. But basically, my finish placed me for qualifying for Nats, so very, very happy about that. Definitely not what I expected. So I'm very, very happy about that. But yeah, I feel like it's because I feel like a lot of people in this game like play a lot of different decks, and there's definitely a lot of advantages to that, right? Like you always get to bring the deck that you feel is the best into the room, right? Obviously we saw a lot of like Chaos Arc this weekend, right?
Yep.
And you know, it also just like helps with your deck building skills a bit by like, you know, diversifying your knowledge, right? It's one thing to like play against a deck, but playing with a deck gives you a much better understanding of, you know, how to beat it. But I also feel like, you know, there's advantages to sticking with one deck for a lot of the time. You know, I could say that it's a strategic advantage, but honestly, the main reason is that I love the playstyle. And it was just like, it clicked so fast for me, like the just like it for my enjoyment. Just tutoring stuff out with Bartz is just so fun. Like, yeah, there's just no other deck this set that I feel like I've had as much fun with.
I think that you, like, what happened is that you have the sweet spot between, I have enough of the core of the strongest deck with my own flavor, which is Bartz. Whereas, like, maybe in an alternate universe where there's a version of you that only plays the other Refia deck, then that might be better, but you have so much experience with this one that it's a testament to what I've been saying. Like, yeah, maybe the other Refia deck is better, quote unquote. I don't know. I don't have the data to show that. But even if it is slightly better, you have so many reps on this one that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right. Like it that more than makes up for the strength of the deck, or the difference in strength of the deck is made up by your experience with this one, and the inexperience of other people versus Bartz.
Yeah,
as well. That also contributes to how well you did with it.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I'll talk about more like, you know, how people I like how my matches went when we talk about our day one and day twos. I guess I kind of want to talk about like the decks themselves first. So, you know, getting into like the core of the deck, right? So everyone knows, you know, Refia, Ferris, Wall is one of the strongest packages in the game right now. Refia in specifically is just like an absurd card. What I do like about Refia, though, as far as like play patterns go, I feel like there's a lot of interaction points for Refia, right? Like, she's a very strong payoff card, but like you can do a lot of stuff to like interact with her, right? Like you can Kuchulain her, you can Ahmad her, you can just kill her with a summon. On your turn, you can cloud her, you can I mean, just generally, right? Like, kill her. You can break their backups to keep them off wall callers and stuff, right? Like, I feel like Refia is extremely strong, but it doesn't feel like I guess degenerate might be like the right word. I don't know what the right word would be, but like it feels like a card that you can that leads to very fun matches. I don't know. How do you two feel about that?
I think if you talk to some of my friends, I think they would wholeheartedly disagree. and some of the Discord people, I think, as well, right?
Yeah.
I do think like we've had this conversation multiple times, but like Refia is very strong like package, and I think people zoom in on Refia as the problem card when it's really everything around her that makes it good, right? Like if you kill her, hey, well, Lena recurs her, Kusith brings her back, Ferris searches her. So it's like it's not Refia. It's that I have access to 12 Refias throughout the game.
Yeah.
Right? That I think that's where the real problem is. If it was just Refia and the 2 CP backups, it wouldn't even be a problem. It's the fact that a normal Refia deck has so many answers, so many Refias in it, and in your case, your Bart's deck has like 20, right? So it is. I don't think it's problematic personally. I quite like the mind games with it. But I definitely felt a little degenerate when I just so happened to get the 4 backups. You know what I'm saying? Like once I get there, I felt like I couldn't lose.
Like, okay, I guess it is a little bit degen to untap, like especially in my deck, untap 5 wall backups. That is a little degen. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, it's just the fact that you're drawing cards as well, and it's like I stuck this, I drew a card, and also anything you play on your turn, I'm bottoming it, so now you're forced to play off of summons. It's kind of, again, it's kind of deep.
Yeah, okay.
Like, I'm gonna be completely honest.
I'll just be like it. I've never like played like. I feel like all the strong decks right now, or a lot of the strong decks right now, like the especially like the mirror. The mirror is so fun. Like I don't know about anybody else, but I love playing the 4-color mirror.
It would be more difficult or grindy. It's not actually like it. I was surprised that I was able to navigate the mirror more than the aggro matchups. That really surprised me.
Oh yeah,
because like I said, my knowledge of the deck was not very good. But kind of like knowing what I'm trying to do and trying to, it's like intuitive. Like okay, I kind of know where I want to be. Where it's like you start thinking, okay, where don't I want you to be? Okay, I gotta get to that spot. Right. So it's not as difficult as I thought it would be initially.
Yeah.
But it is a very, very good deck. And a contender, in my opinion, for best deck in the format. I think between it and Chaos Arc, those are like the 2 top big boys in the format right now. And I think that Chaos Arc is as good as it is because of Refia.
Yeah.
Right. Though I will say the deck that I should have stuck with, which is Mono Earth Chaos Arc, is I think the only Chaos Arc deck where I'm like, I don't care who I'm facing, I can face mono decks and I feel like super comfortable with it. It's such a I don't know what came over me. I think I got like cold feet. Thanks to some of my friends. I was like, oh, like there's gonna be so many people on Chaos Arc, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to play the mirrors of that. And they weren't wrong, but I played it in I know I'm getting off track, but after my loss in top 32, I played the standard side event, and I played Mono Earth Shark, and I won that event. And I played a mirror, and and it's like, oh, I know how to navigate this. It's kind of nice. And then I killed. I'm like, this deck is broken. Why did I play this? But it's not that the deck is broken. I do have more reps on that.
Yeah.
So I do know the lines of that deck. I know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. And I'm like, I can't believe I didn't listen to my own advice. And not perform poorly, but definitely not as good as I expected.
Yeah. I guess I did push you a little bit to play the deck.
It wasn't just you, trust me.
Okay.
It wasn't just you. I got cold feet. I need to trust myself, my own judgment a little more. And I think, a slap in the face to me, but one that it's like the happiest slap in my face. one of the competitors, Jeff, his last name is Hawthorne, right? Yeah, Jeff
Yep.
Hawthorne, who plays six. His deck was 4-color good stuff, Cecil Zidane. And
Yeah.
that's been my go-to deck since the North Carolina event. I placed second at that event with that deck. I love that deck to death. I love Cecil Zidane, and he stuck to it. And the night before the event, we talked about it. We sat down, we made some changes to his deck, and he placed significantly higher than me. So I'm like, all right, you proved my own, you proved me right and wrong at the same time. And you were kind of like my proxy in this, and I should have again stuck to my guns. Like it's a good deck. I should have known. Like that combo's still kind of good. Yeah. And I know those lines. That deck I do know. So I'm very happy for him, and congratulations to him as well if he ever.
Oh yeah, for sure. Seeing someone do really well with Cecil is always really nice because this was my. This is the deck that I played a lot last set. So
yeah, I was insanely happy for him. Like, oh god, you have no idea, dude.
How do you feel about Refia Pat and like Warriors of Light in general?
Yeah, so I think I agree with what you were saying. Like Refia demands interaction, and then that interaction, like on both sides, like on the Refia player to protect her, and then on the opponent to get rid of her, I think creates a lot of good moments in the game. I'm a fan of her existing in the game.
Yeah, it's kind of like a protect the queen kind of deck, right?
I was hoping we can go through sort of like the evolution of the deck throughout the past couple months.
Oh yeah, sure.
Because I know when we first created the list, we were actually on the light Lena as opposed to Lena backup, and then we were also on forward arc and wall backup, right?
Oh yeah.
And then just some of like what we discovered about the meta that led you to your like choices of backups as well as like any flex slots, etc.
Let me see if I can find like an old version of the deck.
I still have our original version built.
Oh, you do? Oh,
so
you
have it lost built? It? I can go look for it. Yeah.
Because
I never updated it.
That's a great point, Pat, because I think part of the reason why I keep repeating, like, if I had more games and experience in, I was copying almost exactly a Japan list, like Air's list, who's won I think 2 what's it called over there, the Masters events. And I saw that the players here have made some adaptations to the deck that once I saw them, I'm like, yeah, I think I always kind of wanted 6 CP Leviathan, and I wanted to see Shintoto, and I'm on neither, right? So I think I was playing an older meta with my deck rather than the meta going into Chicago. So that's a good point.
I'm trying to find like a good example of like where we started for my FF. I like do not organize my FF decks at all. I think just like a good example is probably this one. Yeah. I'll link it in our Discords that. But ignore the Vanu. This was before the set was on FF decks. This is the 4CP wall backup. And then this Bartz is the time magic Bartz. But this list was on 12 Bartz. And trying to, instead of using like it was trying to go mostly into wind, fire, water and like play as few earth cards as possible, right? Like just planning on like tutoring out Kryl, hitting Kusith off of EX, right? Or like casting Kusith on the Kryl, stuff like that. And we were on like 12 Bartz, 13 backups, right? Like we were playing like Seraphithel Aria to get the Bartz guaranteed. And we started out goldfishing with this deck, doing like turn 1, 6 cards in hand, you go Seraphithel, Bartz, get Lunith backup and pass, right? And you have nothing in hand. And then the goal is, okay, if you don't draw one of your other 10 Bartz, you dig with the light Bartz, and then try to get your third backup that way, right? And then this light Bartz, like, you're very likely to hit another Bartz off of this, or you're like likely to either draw or hit a Bartz off of this light Bartz, the reveal 5, right? But we found it was like a little fragile, right? Obviously dumping your hand turn 1 never doesn't sound good. It played better than we thought that it would for a deck that dumps its hand turn 1, but it still wasn't like great.
I think the fuel provided by the light Bards made it enticing to do so, right?
Yeah.
Because even if they kill your Bards, they have to spend CP to do it, usually more than you invest on the Bards.
Yeah.
And then you're very happy to go. Turn 2, I will remove the light Bard. I'll use the 2 backups I have to remove the light Bards from the break zone, dig 5 deep and get it home.
Yeah.
I think I think you still did that in the current version of the deck.
Yeah. I mean it's similar. But it's not as like all in, right? Like you're not dumping your hand
Right.
But yeah, very, very similar idea, right? Just the fact that this light Bartz gets other Bartz is really, really strong for like enabling the sort of combo where you would just like get to 4 colors and a Refia on like turn 3, right? Like that was just like insane when it went off, right? But it was still like pretty fragile, right? Any lightning deck just like fucked you, right? If you they had Ixion or Odin, or if they just like played Cloud and you didn't have the walls in your break zone, right? Like you had like an Arya and like Asura and Kusith or like some shit, right?
Right.
And you couldn't protect your Bartz, then yeah, it just ended up being like a little too fragile. But it was like a lot more consistent than we were expecting it to be. And then sort of as we were testing, like we found this light Lena also ended up feeling really strong. I think we started with the new Lena and then sort of shifted to this as a way to recur Refias, and then eventually shifted over to the Lena backup that we're playing now.
The ceiling on that light Lena is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
It's absolutely insane.
Like, I feel like any deck that's running a decent amount of EXs, the player who's playing Lena is gonna win, right? Like, if you're playing the mirror and one person is Lena and the other person doesn't, like, it's over, right?
Oh, no. I meant the ceiling on the light Lena.
Oh, light.
Like
light Lena. Yeah. Oh my god, the ceiling
that we managed to do with it. Again, it was like, kind of fantasy land, but we actually.
It honestly wasn't. Like, you would like light Lena for Ferris search a Bartz in Refia, the 1k goes off, you get 4 pings.
No,
like...
and then you taste it with Luneth, and then you.
Oh my god,
playing Soul. We were playing the 1 mana Soul.
And it was good.
Oh yeah, we were.
Yeah. Lena, you haste it. Like we used to play Lena, you haste it. Get back Refia. Refia untaps everything. And then Lena has 1 counter. So you dull it to get Soul.
Yep.
And it's like, it was good. I don't know.
It was strong, but the backup is just too good. Like the ceiling on the light Lena is so good, but like the backup one is just too good to pass up, right?
The ceiling and the floor on the backup is just too good.
Yeah. And I think the main thing that we realized was, I think like Eureka pointed this out to me, where like the best curve is honestly to go like backup, pass, and then turn to play like Bartz for your 3rd backup. That's like the ideal curve. And obviously that's not happening most games. But it sort of shifted my framework of like, okay, Bartz doesn't have to be the only way that we get our backups in, right? Like, if I can just play my backups and not have to do anything with Bartz, that's actually like better, right? Because then I'm also like saving the Bartz in my hand for tutoring in the Refia, right? Like, tutoring in my payoffs, right?
Yeah.
So I'd almost rather would go like Serphafel and Arc and then pass and not play Bartz, and then the next turn go, Bartz in Kryl, right, and then continue the engine. Then do anything else, right? So we could play a higher backup count and like slightly less Bartz. Now I also want to talk about my Bartz count, but we could play like slightly less Bartz and still feel good about curving, right? Where like our game plan is to play our backups from hand, but Bartz gives us a way to not do that if we don't draw the right colors or if we don't draw the right backups, right? And so you'll notice I do only have like 14 wind cards in here. So it's like, oh, like you're not always going to have the wind in hand to cast the Bartz, right? But a lot of the times, if you're not drawing the wind cards to cast Bartz, like you'll probably be able to play a backup, right? Like you'll probably draw, like most of your backups are not wind cards. So a lot of the times that you're in the situation where you haven't drawn like any wind cards to cast your Bartz, like you just play a backup probably. It doesn't really feel that awkward, basically. You're gonna say something, or?
No, I agree with your lines, and those are. I think we talked about it doesn't seem intuitive, but I think after much practice, that's how you get to that.
Like this is definitely like a list that has come from like, you know, hundreds of games, right? Like this is the only deck that I've played pretty much, right? So like I feel like I have a decent feeling about the ratios, right? Everyone that I talked to this weekend was like, wow, you're on a lot of Bartz, and I'm like, I wish I was on 10 right now. Like I'm telling you, like I wish I was on 9 or 10 Bartz. Like 8 Bartz feels like I'm being greedy. Like I feel like until you like I just feel like, at least for me, I really enjoy the top deck potential of a Bartz when you have a Bartz on the field, right?
Yeah.
Like we'll talk about it when we get to our like talking about the actual matches that we played, but like, you know, in the traditional list without Bartz, like they kill a Refia and it's like they either have to Kusith or Lena or have another Refia in hand, right? But like you kill this Refia and it's like, okay, well you also better make sure I don't have a Bartz in hand or don't have the Bartz on field, and also all of the other things about like Kusith and Lena and etc., right? It's just so much easier and consistent to keep your Refia on the board, I feel like, or even just like tutoring Ferris and stuff. The other big thing that Bartz enables is that like Ferris is already an insanely strong card, but she becomes like really, really, really stupid with Bartz on the field. Being able to tutor out another Bartz and then tutor in another wall for your Ferris ping, like it enables a lot of line, like it enables a much stronger board wipe with the Ferris, and like really makes them have to not get you to damage 3, right? Or else like Ferris is just gonna pop off. Even just being able to tutor out like Onion Knight, right? For like the extra 3k can be really good. Yeah, and then the biggest thing that I feel like is a little bit more obvious when you're playing is just like how strong the reveal 5 from the light Bartz is. There's so many times that just dug me out of a brick situation, right?
Yeah.
It just makes the deck so much more consistent and so much less likely to just trip over itself and die, which is kind of like, I mean, I'll be honest, I haven't played nearly as much of the non-Bartz version, but that was always kind of my feeling, is that it can sometimes be hard because none of your backup walls are searchable, right? Like sometimes you just don't have like Lunith and Arc on the board, and you have like Tyro, Lena, Kryl, and like Seraphifel, right? And you're just like, I can't cast wall yet, right?
Yeah.
And like even in my match on stream against John on my mono water matches, like I didn't really, I drew really well those games. I didn't really use Bartz that much, but like in the first game, Bartz got me my Lunith, right? Like I wouldn't have gotten my Lunith on board if it weren't for Bartz, right? So yeah, just like I feel like you're able to get to your game plan a lot more consistently, the Refia game plan. The downside is that you're running a lot of Bartz, right? And I feel like some aggro matchups are better because you can tutor out Wall and Refia, and like I will have games. My first round was against Mono Ice, and I tutored out like Wall, Refia, Ferris, and it's like they literally just can't do anything from that position, right? Just being able to tutor out Wall can just stop a lot of aggro decks in their place. Ice has surges, which helps a lot with the dealing with the Wall, but like they can't like get it off the board really. Like it's very difficult for them to. But there are definitely like Knights in particular is an aggro matchup, and I think also probably Wall 7 that becomes significantly worse by not playing the Bartzless version. You can see I'm only on 15 EX bursts instead of like 25. My main tech cards are for things like the control matchups, right? Like my tech cards are Ishtola and Une and like, you know, another Amaterasu and stuff like that. And like Onion Knight is kind of the only tech card that's like more for aggro matchups because I can play Cloud off it, right? And even then that's great against Refia in the mirror, right? So I feel like the matchups for Bartz are more polarizing, but I feel like it has I feel really good going into any control and mid-range matchup that isn't like a mono win deck that's spamming Nash on me, right? I feel like even like Chaos Arc, I think Chaos Arc is probably like about the same. Having the Bartz on board is a little awkward for the arc. But like I don't know, it's probably like about the same. You're still doing your thing where you're just kind of playing Zidane and ripping their arcs out of their hand is the main game plan, right?
I think exactly what you just said is what makes it slightly weaker than normal Refia.
Yeah.
Because I can normal Refia can just sit back and patiently play their things. Bart gives them an arc target. That's where I think it's a little awkward, but at the same time, I keep saying that matchup isn't as bad as people say. Because it's not.
It's definitely the like there are definitely more like worse matchups than Chaos Arc. I think Chaos Arc is like they're favored, but it's not nearly like an auto loss.
I'd rather play a bunch of Chaos Arcs than like Wall 7s and
for sure
and Knights, right? Like that's the type of matchup that I don't want to see because it comes down to, hey, did I hit my EX when I needed to, or did I get like O to 7th in 2 turns?
But yeah, I think in general though the other huge advantage that Bartz has against non-Bartz in that matchup, or sorry, in the Bartz versus non-Bartz matchup, I think Bartz is definitely favored. So the two big advantages are that you get online faster, which seems counterintuitive because like, oh, you're playing Bartz and then like you are spending more CP, not getting your stuff online as much. But you do get online faster and more consistently. The other big thing is that you are untapping more mana than they are, right, with Refia. You have a much better swing when your Refia activates. I'm untapping 4 to 5. They're untapping at most 3, right? Is that true? Seraphifel or no? I guess they can technically untap 4.
No, we get there, but it's we don't. There's King Tycoon specifically is kind of a wrench in the backup plan. Oftentimes, I was on 2 wall backups when I wanted to be on 3. And I think like between King Tycoon and Tyro, oftentimes you're forced to play them, and you're not in the spot where you want to be because of those cards. I think the benefits outweigh the bad stuff, but maybe not in my playstyle. I don't know if that makes sense.
For like King Tycoon,
I felt like every game that I won, especially in the mirror, was games where I got to 3. I don't think 4 is needed, right? Like Bart's can get to 4 super easy.
Yeah.
3 is the sweet spot, and oftentimes I'd be like, I have my 4 colors for wall, which is nice, but 2 of them are King Tycoon and Tyro.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so my Refia is just not online,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I can't just like, for example, what you do, or you can do, which sounds dumb, but it's really good. Like Refia, and then play like the 1 CP Bart, and be like, hey, there's my 4th, right?
Yep.
It was like my option for 4th wall was a Ferris that I might not want to play yet. Onion Knight, which I never want to play, and wall if I drew it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's the extent of the Warriors of Light that I
Yeah.
have on my deck. Bart's gives you that extra little body
Mm-hmm.
to improve the count of walls so that Refia is always online. That I felt like I was missing.
Yeah, and it's sticky too, so it's like they're not like it's a sticky
It
body
is very
for
sticky,
TCP, right?
Or
That
it's
contributes
or
to
it's the
Refia.
1 CP one where you're like, I don't want to kill that.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to kill that
Exactly.
card. Why do I want to kill that card? Yeah.
So the main thing though is that you are just getting online so much more consistently. A lot of times okay, if the non-Bart's version goes like, okay, back up, turn 2, like another backup and another backup, right? Like, okay, yeah, they'll get online faster if they draw all of their stuff and then also like draw Refia and then, you know, also have wall, right? But it's like the Bart's version can guarantee that. And so even though you're paying the extra CP for the Bart's, like being able to you know, if you cloud their Refia, it's a lot harder, like we were saying, for them to play another one out, right? Like it's a bit more of an investment for them to get the Refia out. And you like I felt like in all of my matches against non-Barts, I was like always in the driver's seat. Like I always felt like I was the one playing my Refia first. I felt like I was the one resolving my Refias more. And that is ultimately like how you win the matchup, right? And also whenever I resolved a Refia, I got more of an advantage than my opponent did, right?
Yeah, I think, and again, I think this is based on the inexperience of people going into the March matchup, right? I think that's a mirror, quote unquote,
Yeah.
where if you get online that quick, and you often will, I think like the Refia player or the normal Refia player is forced to like pivot into like grinding you out of cards
Mm.
because you search and draw so much
Yeah.
that it becomes viable to be like, all right, I'm just gonna like Zidane take a couple cards so you're like digging deeper and see how I can outstall you until you die, because eventually, but like people don't know that, like they want to do their game plans.
Mm.
I want to do my Refia thing. He got to do it first. It's boring, but um, I don't think people are prepared enough for like turbo Refia, right? I would call it like Bart is more like turbo Refia instead of like classic Refia control.
Yeah.
And yeah, people got shown the strength of the card, which I'm happy with, because a lot of people were kind of like not very impressed with Bart.
I'm a little sad I didn't get to really show it off on stream though.
Yeah, you played like a normal Refia player.
I know.
Like,
I made the Barts look bad because of that.
No, but well, actually, I think the opposite. I think that it's like, oh well, even when we don't get the Barts, this still plays like a normal Refia deck, right? Like, isn't that like super positive for the deck? You're still doing the things that you want to.
True.
Yeah, I'm happy to see the result. I knew that was gonna happen. I don't know. Like every time I play, I'm like, yeah, there's no way. Like you don't. With how many reps you have on this and how well you know the matchups and against all the randos in Octagon, they're like, there's no shot. You don't catch half of these guys by surprise.
Thanks. Yeah, I guess any other thoughts on the deck from the three of us before moving on to like our matches?
No, my deck list is like I said, it's a very standard list. But I agree with everything you said about it. I if it wasn't because Tyro fixes color, most of the time I wanted that to be like a Thornton or something, so I could search my backups. I think I personally didn't abuse Bosch as much as I should have.
Yeah.
Until later, but even then, it's a one-off, so it's kind of hard to consistently abuse it.
Yeah. That is actually something I wanted to talk about actually before we move on. I know we've been talking about the deck lists a lot.
I don't know, like this is again my experience, and again, like it's because I'm not familiar with the deck, but I never found that getting the lightning guy off of Sarah was needed or good. Like I never was like, haha, I'm gonna pitch this for a cloud. I never wanted to be doing that. A lot of the aggro stuff, and it's like 4 and up. And clouding a Refian never feels like super good. That's like
I don't know.
Every time I got it done, it was like okay.
I don't know.
Unless I'm ahead, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think Onion Knight is like uncuttable at this point. Like it definitely came up a lot over the weekend for me at least.
It did not come up for me at all. I wished I had a Shintoro for sure. Like that was 100% a mistake.
Yeah.
Not to have Shintoro, and I think 6 CP Levy is another form of recursion and swingy EX that I missed.
Yeah, and also really good in Chark.
And it's excellent. So those are the 2 cards, and a lot of the guys who play Scion Refia were on those cards, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I completely understand. Though, I will say that some of the iffy cards that Air was playing, like the 2-color Ferris, that people are like, what the heck is this card? As soon as I played the deck, I'm like, you know what? I get it.
Yeah.
A lot of the time I want Sarah FFL turn 1, and I don't want to pitch any of my good cards. I get that and pitch it for fire. Like, or like if I hit a King Tycoon, and I don't want to search Elena to play Elena. I search that and play Elena. I'm like, okay, this guy was onto something. I think we all like dismiss that card, but that card is great for pitching.
It's also like honestly kind of decent early. Like it's unironically playable.
Yeah, but like most of the times, again, it's like you want. And we talked about this, and like the reason I like Anthony Apigo's win is because he has like that 1 CP Yuffie, and I'm like, yeah, I can just like take that early and pitch it for good cards, right? I'm starting to lean more into having searchable color fixers.
Yeah.
To get my good cards instead of having to pitch my good cards, because there's so much break zone hate right now, and there should be. That the break zone is no longer a safe place for your cards as it used to be before. So I'm like, I don't want to pitch my second Refia for water, right?
Yeah.
I'd rather pitch this Ferris that I would never play, or this Onion Knight that I'm never going to play for the water that I need. So, yeah. But other than that, like I said, yeah, it's list is good. Wish I had a little more EX, wish I had Shintaro.
We got to talk about Y'shtola. Nobody else is like running Y'shtola in Refia, I feel like.
It's hard, so like it's I'm so biased. I think my opinion means nothing because I'm like the most biased person.
Yeah, it's definitely like our pet card, I feel like. But it's good against Chark. I mean, you didn't have Levy 6, but you had this.
Yeah.
Did it come up for you at all?
1 game, yeah.
Okay.
It was. But then I stopped something with Len. I think it was in the Mirror versus Sydney. He did something. I think it was like I stopped like a Refion tap or something with it, or something like that. It was like Len up, no, right? And then it's like, okay, my turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did come up, not as much as I wanted it to, but I was never like. It's one of those cards. I'm never sad to see it. It's like. If my turn is play wall, play Y'shtola, I'm super happy.
Oh my god, yeah. I drew this card in a lot of really good spots this weekend, which helped a lot. Just like untapping with Refia after like second main playing Y'shtola is just like it's the same way that like untapping in main 1 and playing Zidane feels like. It's just like you play it and you just feel like so much better about your position.
Yeah, you're like, well, you have to get through 2 things instead of 1. And every time I played her, I swear she ate a cloud or
Yeah.
something. I was like, okay, we take those here,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, I guess anything else that we should mention? Any other thoughts from Pat either, or
No, I think you covered a lot of the things. Also a big fan of Stola. I always hate seeing her against me. So.
Yeah, I definitely some because just one notable absence for me is also the no Bosch, right? I think Bosch is really good at keeping your opponent from getting you to 2 damage, right? And in my list, they can get me to 2 damage, right? They can't get me to 3, but they can get me to 2, right? The other big thing, I mean, like you said, no Shantoto is also like a huge thing that we're not threatening. But yeah, I mean, it's just hard for me to fit Bosch in here. Toto, I should fit Toto in here, but Bosch is like, I should fit Bosch in here, but I'm already like lower than the amount of Barts that I want to play. So like I'd have to cut like an Ishtola, right? So it's like maybe if Chart goes down or something, then I would. But it's just like hard for me to justify playing. It's fitting in Bosch.
Right.
But he's definitely like a very strong. Like I'm not saying that you shouldn't be playing Bosch in here. I think that like if I found room cutting a card that I didn't feel like I really wanted, I would put Bosch in, for sure.
Yeah, flex spots, I
Yeah.
think, are important, but they're not. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't give that much.
I mean, like my 3 like one-ofs, Ishtola, Onion Knight, and Une, all came up like a bunch this weekend. So
Right, but like if you slot in Bosch there, I'm sure it would have come up too.
That's
right?
true.
Like
Yeah.
that's why I don't give that much importance to tech cards,
Mhm.
because it's just helping your deck, not like
Yeah.
it's not the thing you want to be doing.
Mhm.
And that's why we have them at 1 and not at 3,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And they may make the difference, but I'm sure, like I said, like you wouldn't hate to have had a Bosch in there. Yeah, pretty sure you wouldn't. It'd be like, oh, okay, well, I don't have this, but I have access to um cryo whenever I want, or something like that, right? Um, it's and then you take a damage. And, oh, I hit an EX. It was really good,
Mhm.
which totally did happen, right? So, um, yeah, I'm not, like I said, I'm not a I don't think too much when I'm like 47 cards in. I'm like, it's whatever.
Yeah.
My deck is ready.
All right, so let's quickly talk about our matches from day one, like how we did in Swiss. So I'm sorry if I don't remember everyone's names, who I played against. But my round 1 opponent was a mono ice player. Like I said, being able to Barts in the wall and then just like have the Refia to untap and stuff makes that matchup like really not too much of an issue. I feel like they have to like really high roll in order to like mess you up early.
Right.
And my opponent didn't. So especially I think they were playing like a slightly slower version with like Kurasame and stuff. And so I wasn't too worried there. Rounds 2 and 3 were against Christian and Tori. Both playing the monsters deck. I think let me pull up. So obviously Tori won. So one of my losses was against number 1. Where I know. Here it is. Yeah. So Christian was playing the Earth, Fire, Water version of the deck, and Tori was playing just Fire, Water. I told him after that I knew that I was very out of it because I did not realize that his deck did not have Earth in it. I was just going from Christian's deck to playing against Tori. Like, in my head, I was just playing around Bosch Mira the entire game. Like, it just did not register at all. Like, even when he played, like, Tyvis and all these other cards that, like, oh wait, he's, like, not playing Earth.
Yeah, I don't have to, like, I can take him to 2 damage. And
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think specifically, like, there was like one turn where I didn't get him to damage 5 because I was like, oh, if he has Puma, like, I gotta worry about that. Like, again, I was just like not paying attention at all. But yeah, both of these decks, I mean, I have 0 monster hate in the deck, and both of these are very aggressive decks. So in general, it's usually they're hard, pretty difficult matchups. And I mean, they're both like insanely good players. I mean, I don't have to tell you that Tori is a good player when he got literally first, right? And Christian also made top 32, right? So like, they're both really strong players. I was joking around with Christian during our game when he went Princess Goblin for this Shinryu. I was like, I told him like, oh shit, I got jump scared. I was like, just because I'm so used to the Princess Goblin searching out Lightning EX, right? When he searched this, I was like, oh fuck. Really cool though. It's really cool because you can pitch it with Meath and search out any, like, you can pitch it with Meath and search Realm, and especially in the Fire Water version, you can pitch it and get Tyvis as well, right? Or Gao, right? It just ends up like turning, or you know, if you draw the light card and then you play Loporrit and then bottom it, like it just turns Princess Goblin into a 2 CP draw card, which is insane, right? A tutorable 2 CP draw card,
right?
And draw like a really good card too. It's like really cool tech. Yeah, no, these two are great players. Great to play against. I know, Pat, you said you, like, pretty much like right after this, you tested Tori's lists, the Fire Water version, because you've played a bit of the Earth Fire Water version.
So
how did you feel about it?
I've always been a fan of his lists, as you all know.
Yeah.
And our locals are on Sundays.
Mhm.
So Sunday morning, or I guess Saturday night, the lists were put up. And then I saw the list and I just thought, wow, like this is like pretty cool.
Mhm.
And I loved the old Shinryu.
Mhm.
So I tried it out on Sunday, and it felt great playing it. I just I don't know how else to explain it. Like I liked going down to just 2 colors.
Mhm.
It felt way smoother than before when I was sort of like mulliganing a lot for like the right backups to start with.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It was like all the plays were like way smoother. And the Shinryu as a tutor for Princess Goblin, as you were mentioning, like a lot of the lines are like pretty intuitive, and they came up during my games on Sunday, like
Mhm.
tucking it with Loporrit and then basically like having an extra card
Yeah.
draw from the Loporrit, like things like that. Like when I had Shinryu in my hand, I was like, oh wait, I can do this. And then it was cool. And then me thing occurred also.
Yep.
I was like, whoa, 5 CP?
And how did
Don't mind if
Minwoo
I
feel?
do.
How did Minwoo
Right.
feel?
Minwoo was awesome. I saw him do like the poo poo on stream. And I think that was like as I was playing the deck.
Yeah.
I think I was like watching it. I was like, wait, I can do that.
Yeah.
Or was that? I forgot if that was day 1 or day 2.
He did that versus me, and I was like, "What the fuck? Like, wait, that's so insane." Yeah, no. I think he literally like he played Leo, and then like, he like pitched his hand for Leo on the stack. Minwooed for Poo Poo, drew 2, drew 1 off Leo, swung with Fear, and drew another 1. And I'm like, how the fuck are you at 4 in hand now? Like,
Yep.
what the fuck?
Yeah. I was surprised there was only 1 Poo Poo in the list.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you get like a billion mileage out of that poo poo.
Yeah.
It's that poo poo. You see it like 5 times the game. Like, I don't understand. It's the same poo poo again.
And it's not even like the only thing that you're casting off of Minwo either, right?
I think it's super interesting that 2 of the top decks were basically abusing the stack and poo poo.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We have that fire water monsters, which is abusing Minwoo's ability to go empty handed and poo poo, and then we have the mono wind deck, who's abusing the I play something, get down to like poo poo in my hand by pitching for Leo. And then I untap my stuff before I draw with Leo. I poo poo.
Yeah,
it's like, wait, poo poo's broken, bro. We always knew. Hey, it was banned in chapters. Poo poo and Moogle were both banned in chapters.
Really?
It was because I think there's a Opus 1 Lena backup that in English or in the current game it reads when your opponent casts a summon you untap her. I believe in chapters that card read whenever a summon is cast untap her. So
Okay,
you could literally Moogle for free.
Yeah.
And you would play Lena and go Moogle untap, poo poo untap. So thank God we didn't get that.
The Red 13 was really good too. Red 13 and Realm is amazing.
Yeah, what the heck?
Yeah, no, literally I was like, oh wait, no, but you can't get the effect off of Red 13. And he's like, wait, no, you can, right? And I'm like, oh wait, I'm fucking thinking of Wall 7, because like that was the first thing I was thinking about with it. Like the first time I've ever read this card was when it was in Wall 7, and I'm like, oh, but you don't get the Wall 7 effect, right? It's like, no, but it doesn't say that you don't get the ETBs.
Yeah,
I think I was thinking of like, yeah.
I think that was based on what I saw like of that list. That was like the biggest stroke of genius that I saw from that list. I know there's a lot of stuff there, but it's like, oh, okay. Not only do you get your Realm effect, you get to get her out of the way, but for either playing a new one or if you're against like Chaos Arc, you like deny them a target. Like, right, and just keep it's like, oh wow, that's kind of neat.
Yeah, it like the fact that it also like removes the realm that you just played from the game so that you can play another one. Like, how does it work with the stack in terms of at the end of the turn RFG? Do you still get the realm bounce at the end of turn too, or no?
Yeah, you would still get the realm bounce if you had 5.
God. Dude, how did nobody else come up with this?
I think people were not on that Red 13, and it's like, I was also, I have to make this comment. I was like, am I watching the screen wrong? What's going on? It's because he had the noir.
The noir one, yeah.
I'm like, is that a proxy? Did this man just print it like in a printer somewhere and they allowed that? And now it's the noir version. Never mind.
But yeah, for like the just being able to Tyvus for the Red 13 for Realm is like crazy. Honestly, like you have a lot of, like I didn't realize Red 13 plays any forward. Like you can play Demon and then Haste Goblin and then get the Demon Swing and like you paid 1 mana. Like what? Like that's insane.
Yeah, you can do a lot of stuff with it. You can do Goddess, something like that, right? Where we talked about the other day, where she doesn't have to be in the field to kill stuff. So you can literally play Goddess, she dies, and then end of your opponent's turn, he gets a board wipe. And it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Like even like just because this is an Atomos deck too, right? Like you can hard cast this Red 13, and then Atomos can untap him before you pay the 1, right? If Red 13 is your second cast.
Yeah, you can untap first and then pay the 1.
That's busted. That's crazy.
That requires some thought there. Again, like I said, that's too big brain for me.
Anyways, so these those were my 2 losses in rounds 2 and 3. So I'm like 1 and 2 by round 3. I'm like, all right, yeah, this is kind of like how I expected. You know, I didn't. I know I said that I got a lot of reps in, but I hadn't really been practicing like the 2 or 3 weeks leading up to Chicago, and like not at all like while I was in Chicago. And so I was like, oh yeah, this is like about what I expected. But like, you know, I'm still gonna keep my head up. Like I feel like I could probably still place pretty well. You know, who knows? And then yeah, I won the other 5 games that I played against. I think let me pull up the day. I think the next match was, I'm gonna have to scroll up for this. Oh, did I cut out for you guys?
Oh, you're good.
No, you're here.
Okay. Let me see. Who did I play against round 4 before lunch? I think it was a mirror. I just want to. Yeah, so I played against somebody else who was playing Bart's. It didn't feel like too bad. I, you know, drew my Bart's. I got online quicker. My opponent got, so this is I feel like a common theme throughout a lot of my matches. A lot of times, like my opponents got me to damage 3. And I feel like that's definitely something where if you don't have a lot of experience in the matchup, you know, it doesn't seem too bad. It's like, oh, you know, Ferris has a damage 3 ability, but like, you know, it's fine. Like I gotta kill them anyways. I'm trying to beat them down, and it's like, no, like you have to go from damage 2 to damage 7. If you give, especially in Bart's, when you're able to like really abuse Ferris, you cannot let them get to damage 3 unless you're like really ahead, right? Like unless you're like winning the game, or you have interaction for the Ferris, like the Amat for the Ferris search, and you're ahead. You know, do like, even if you're playing an aggro deck, you know, don't just like naturally get them to damage 3. So yeah, no, I got to damage 3 and, you know, kind of just played Ferris, and kind of went off of it. I think the next round I played against Xenos OTK. I saw the Xenos come down turn 1 and I'm like, fuck, right? But you know, played Warrior Light and then just kind of stabilized from there. I played against the Bartsless version. Again, another kind of just, I set up quicker. I think I played against a Water Lightning player. And this is a matchup that I was really happy that you've been playing this deck, Pat, because I definitely felt a lot more confident than I would have going into the matchup, just because I feel like I got a lot of reps in with you. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Super fun matchup. I love Water Lightning versus Refia. It feels like a really, really dynamic matchup. And then my last game was against Magissa, which I felt horrible. my opponent like did not draw any of their stuff. So the Magissa kind of just like tripped over itself, basically. You know, I felt pretty bad.
That's how that deck goes sometimes.
Yeah, that is kind of how it goes, right? So yeah, that was my day 1. So I kind of felt like I, you know, after the first 2 games, I was like a little worried, but as the day went on, I started getting my confidence back up. And yeah, Chris from our another Chris from New Jersey was like, incoming 6-2 after I posted that I was 1-2, and he was right. So I really appreciated the support of the whole Jersey crew throughout the whole weekend, but also, you know, day 1. Yeah, how was your day one, Emmanuel?
Horrible. No,
I was gonna say, like, I feel like my matches weren't too bad, but you were going through the fucking ringer.
yeah. So I lost round one to It was, I don't know how to describe it, to be honest. It was 4-color wall Chaos Arc with like untargetable forwards like Titas, Yuffie, two Neo X Des. It was one of those decks that not only my unfamiliarity with my own deck got to me, but the fact that I don't know what to play around
Mhm.
because this I've never seen anything like this got to me. So I got kind of destroyed there, which didn't do much for my confidence. Round two was another Chaos Arc deck. It was Water Earth. And again, on targetable forwards, he stuck a Siren plus a Fiend against me. And I was ready to literally pack up and go home
Mhm.
because I was like, there's no way this is what people are playing. There's no way I misread the meta this badly.
Mhm.
I don't know how I'm gonna get through this. And the guy was I'm really bad with names, so I apologize, but he was such a cool, um, happy guy. I've never seen him before, but he was so like I enjoyed the matchup just because it was him on the other
Mhm.
side of the table. He was so cool. Um, I pulled it out of my ass, if I'm gonna be completely honest. I I kept getting trying to target the fiend to get it out of the field, and Siren was protecting it, and he wouldn't fall for some of my baits
Mhm.
that I was trying to get him to like trigger a Siren when he shouldn't have or something. And at what point I got my Refia on, and I was like, okay, I have to put this fiend on top of the deck or I lose.
Mhm.
And I Refia'd, and fortunately he whiffed on Siren. I put the fiend on top. I attack with Ferris, got rid of the Siren because obviously the top card is a forward now.
Mhm.
And I managed to through. Um, and I like you saw it, I missed lethal in that game. I had an Onion Knight in the break zone that I could have like used for whatever bouncing his last forward. I don't know. I'm like so even though I won that match, it was like skin of my teeth.
Yeah.
So I was not feeling good. Third match, I think it was a 4-color wall with FFX with FF10.
Mhm.
Um, that one went a little better. Then that's when I like started to get a little more comfortable. It's like, huh, I think I get this. I'm starting to get it. Fourth round, I don't remember what it was. To be honest with you, I think it was mono water. Actually, yeah, it was a mono. It was a mono water matchup where I should have taken a picture of this. I was sitting on the table with 3 people, like
Mhm.
with my opponent and 2 people next to me. All 3 people that were not me started the game by pitching a card and playing to CP Yuna. All 3 of them. It was wild. Like they all started like that, and it was 3 different Yunas. One of them had the promo, one of them had a normal Yuna, and the other one had a foil normal Yuna.
That's great.
And I was like, "What are the odds of this? This is like astronomical." I said, "I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone with these people." Um, then fifth, that might have been actually my fifth or sixth matchup. I genuinely don't remember. There's one match I don't remember. Genuinely, I think I blanked out. I was too hungry or something.
Mhm.
Then went my stream match, which if you want to see how horribly that went, that was it's on stream for everyone to see. However, even though it went pretty bad for me, it was easily one of the best and most fun matches I've had in a while. That was versus Cody, who ended up going 8-0 in the day. He was on KP's Wall 7 list,
Mhm.
and it was some of the most insane back and forth I've ever had. Um, my hand was absolute horrible to handle Wall 7. If it was like any other matchup, I had like Tycoon to get Lana and all that stuff. But he went first and he searched for Sarah. I'm like, oh, I forgot that he's playing KP's list. If this man flips over like Irvine and something else, I'm done. Right? Like I'm done. I can't do anything. Um, so I pitched 2 cards for Zidane because I had 2 Zidanes in hand, a Tycoon, a Refia. I don't remember what I had. I played an Ingus and I played a Zidane, and he revealed 2 Wall 7s, like 2 of the, and I was like, oh my god, this paid off. But Cody's a very strong player. It sucks that no one could hear our match because that was like the most insane banter. Where he, as soon as I play Zidane, he starts laughing. He goes like, "Oh, you're gonna love this, man." And he shows me both walls, and I'm like, "Oh, yes, I do." And then I swing in, get rid of both, and I'm like, "Okay, I'm in the clear." But he's a good player. He kills my Zidane with Victoria, and then he plays Irvine to put pressure on me. And then I draw the Amaterasu, and I'm like, "All right, this Irvine can't eat all my Refias in break zone, or I lose," because I drew all 3 Refias. So I Amated. And I'm like, I'm gonna lose this. I'm on 1 backup and a Leo, and he keeps hitting me. He gets Cypher. Cypher mills the 3rd wall 7, and I'm like, wow. Now I have to think about what's his face, Gilgamesh. But Cypher is also hasted by Raijin because that was also in the break zone. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm so far behind. How do I get out of this? And I go, all right, I'm gonna pitch. My hand was I'm not joking. It was Lena, 3 Refias, one of who I got 2 walls, 3 Refias, and Lena. And I go, well, I guess Leo has to dig me out of this. So I play Leo, and I top deck an Arc, and I play a Lena, and I play the Arc and revive Lena on tap. That's what I'm saying. Like, Refias degenerate, right? I'm with full walls. I bottom the Cypher. I untap and I draw a Kuchulain. Okay? So that's when he plays Cloud to kill Refia, and I have to make a decision here, right? The decision is: does he have the Gilgamesh?
Yeah.
If he has it, and I think he has it, I hold this Kuchulain. I don't tap 4 for Refia.
Yeah.
But and I'm always gonna say this to people: if you're behind, you play as if the opponent doesn't have it. You can't play around everything because you are behind. You have to make bold plays and hope that your opponent doesn't have it. I'm not in a winning position, so I have to assume he doesn't have it.
Yeah.
And I bottom the Cloud, and sure enough, he does have the Cloud.
Yeah.
He kills me. And I talked about people, and they're like, "Oh, well, you could have held the Cooch." But then I go, okay, let's say I Cooch there.
Yeah, I think
blank it for 1 turn.
I think I was telling you like, oh, I don't think you should bottom Cloud there because of the Gilg, but you know, I think looking back, like I guess I would have to I have to think about it more, like how far behind you were, right? Because you were like, you were your opponent had lethal, right? If you didn't bottom the Cloud, right?
No, I had blockers.
Oh, you did?
I had blockers. Yeah, I had Arc who could have stopped the Victoria, and I don't remember what his other forward was. Oh, the Cloud. Yeah, no, the Arc would have held the line.
Yeah.
Oh, I had Arc and Leo.
Yeah.
Blockers, right? The problem was so if I bottomed the Cloud and he didn't have the Gilga, like he couldn't swing into me, basically. Yeah. If he had Gilga, then I had to blank it and he just passes, right? And that buys me a turn. But that was my 3rd Refia. He's dead.
Oh, right. Yeah. So you have to like get
I drew all 3.
Or...
Right? I'm not gonna top deck my way out of that. And the other way to get the Refia, which is Arc, is already on the field.
Yeah.
So there was like very slim chances, and if you saw the things that I would have drawn based on damage, it was like Sarah, FFL, and something else. Like, there's no way I get out of this, right?
Yeah.
And but it was insane. Like it went from I'm losing to, hey, I got Refia online somehow, and he genuinely looked at me like, wow, the fuck? How did you how do you have Refia? Like, you put me to damage 5. What do you want me to do?
Damage 3. Arc is damage 3, bro.
No, I know, but he put me at 5, right?
Oh,
so,
yeah.
So it was like, and I swear I top decked that Arc. Like it was the most top deck of my life. It gave me hopium, but then I died. then after that, it was uh, the mono water matchup I just mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
And it was two mirrors, one versus Sydney and one versus Sergio,
Mm-hmm.
and two very very strong players. And I managed to get those two matches. So I top 32. I think I was 15th place.
Mm-hmm.
Not bad, to be honest, for my first like super big tournament in like 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
The mirrors were very good matches. Like some of the
Yeah.
best Final Fantasy. I don't know. It just felt like we were playing like an actual game of Final Fantasy and not just going here's Corella and 2 nights, right? We were both like, oh, what do I do? Like trading Zidanes back and forth, right? Trying to like fish for each other's ref. Yeah, it just felt good. It felt really really good.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but in both cases, I think in the first game I kind of grinded Sydney out a little bit to the point where he had less cards than me because he had a better start than me. So I went, okay, I'm just going to grind you out. Sergio could have grinded me out because he hit like 3 Zidanes, but
Mm-hmm.
I got online faster and then I managed to like pull it off.
Yeah.
It's like what I'm saying, like that. Like sometimes you have to know when to. I'm not gonna win the Refia war here, so I'm gonna win the your deck is thinner than mine. And a lot of my games, like you said, went to time just because I'm inexperienced and it sucks.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, like in the second game, it was my opponent was newer too. So a lot of oh my god, I do remember. I remember the matchup. I forgot. It was my third matchup. It was a mirror, but my opponent hadn't. I remember it now. My opponent hadn't played in like 2 years, 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So he was like very slow. Um, reading some of the cards and some of the interactions and all that stuff. And I remember we ended the game and he goes like, "Hey, thanks for being patient, man."
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, "No worries, dude." Like,
Mm-hmm.
like I'm not as gung ho as some of my fellow players. Of course, like it's competitive. We gotta like get going, yeah. And that so yeah, I remembered my the matchup that I forgot. Let's go. It was a mirror, another mirror, and
Mm-hmm.
I won that one.
Nice. I mean, yeah, like for picking up the deck the day before, I feel like you know piloted it pretty well.
Yeah,
I was
also a very
watching
strong
your
deck. Like,
matches. Hmm?
it's also a very strong deck. So.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, I guess anything else like about our day one? Pat, did you have any questions or were you watching the stream on day one or?
No, I was watching like I guess the replay on the train back
Okay,
from the
okay.
city, but we were watching day two live to like at the store, so
Mhm.
I've more to ask about that.
Okay. Yeah, so I guess moving on to day two then. So my first match, or my first round was against Sam Toole, who was on the Bartzless walls. Let me find his lists. Did I miss it? Where is it? There it is. Yeah, and so this is sort of like what I was talking about before, where Sam mentioned it as well. Like I just got online faster every like both games. You know, I played Refia. I got to my backups quicker because of Bart's. I got my Refias online. I played my Refia and resolved Refia first, and I just like was able to keep her on the board. And a big part of that was just how good Bart's was at doing all of those jobs. So I really do think Bart's is favored in this matchup a lot. Yeah. So I'm trying. I can't remember all the my day two is a little bit fuzzy. I'm trying to like remember any specific details about the matches, but that's pretty much like what I remember. Um, I don't remember as much from the individual games. And And then my next round opponent was against John, who was on mono water. If I can find it. There it is. And so this game was on stream. And both John and Brian, who was judging our game, and me were just like, my draws that game or that round were absolutely insane. Like I drew absolutely cracked the entire both games. I just literally like always had the answers to everything. I always got online really fast. I never like ran into any issues. I didn't even like have to use Bart's for a lot of it. Like I mentioned before, it got me my Lunith in game 1. It got me to my 4th color for wall. But I didn't even really like need it. And like I was just playing, you know, very patiently. I do have a bit of experience in this matchup because you would play. I think you played like a wall 7 version of this list though, so a bit different. You know, not as many monsters and etc. But still, like it's very much, it revolves around like, can your opponent resolve Tidus? And if they do, they probably win. And if they don't, like, you just have to keep them from resolving Tidus and also Leviathan and also, you know, play around Shinryu and play around and etc. Right? But like, yeah, I just drew really well. Like there was one turn where I had like drew the Y'shtola off of Refia and then played Y'shtola after combat and stuff, like just to keep the board locked down. Yeah, it was, I definitely got pretty lucky those games. I still feel like the matchup is favored for Refia. I definitely feel like it's favored for Bart's. Like I said, I feel like the big advantage for Bart's is the matchups into control and mid-range. And so the you know, I feel like the matchup is favored, but definitely like I got very lucky. And I didn't really get to show off the Barts too much on stream. But yeah, and then my 3rd round on stream was against Dory, who's playing Knights. And as soon as I saw that I was paired against him and he was playing Knights, I was like, all right, well, you know,
that's good for me.
Definitely like my goal, like, so my deck is not teched for Knights at all. We played a lot of matches with different cards and different versions of the deck, me and Pat. And I was just like, at a certain point, you gotta just like dodge your bad matchups, I feel like. Bart's is a lot more polarizing with its matchup spread. And this is one of the reasons why. The fact that probably the best aggro deck in the format is like an unwinnable matchup, in my opinion. I feel like the main thing that like, you know, I thought of first when we were first testing is, oh, you can just Bart's out wall, right? But it's honestly like not really as like strong as it feels. So the Laswell kind of locks down. You can tap wall for killing the Laswell, but they still get the freeze on the wall. They have surges to dull and also freeze if it's already tapped the wall. And just like this deck kills you so fast, right? If they ever resolve Ramza, then they can kill like any of your answers. And the real big reason that I feel like aggro isn't too bad, because usually you can just board wipe them with Ferris, right? So unless they're bringing you like 2 to 7, it's like, okay, like even like damage 2, like you can play a pretty strong Ferris at damage 2 sometimes. And Kurilla just says no, Ferris has no text, and it's really frustrating. You have to basically like kill the Kurilla, but if they play Charlotte, then you can't.
Yeah.
So it just ends up like the deck kind of just really naturally beats Refia. Again, the big thing is just Kurla turning off Ferris from being a board wipe is really, really rough. Not being able to like touch Laswell with Ferris if Kurla's on board is really, really strong. And yeah, so you saw in my games, like I wasn't even like Seraph was not even like searching Barts for Barts because I was just like I had I think both of my games like I had Amma in hand or something. Game one I might not have, but I at least game two I think like I had Amma in hand and like I was like okay I need the fire CP for Amma. I need Onion Knight for Cloud to kill Laswell. That's one of the big things I feel like the Onion Knight gives you is, you know, being able to force them to get a second Laswell, right? Which isn't too hard because they can Ramza for it, but, you know, I also have the Amma in hand, but I also have to burn it for Kurilla, right? I feel like I still feel good about, you know, my searches with Seraphifel on those games. You do kind of just have to play around them bricking. Like you were saying, you have to if you're behind, you have to play around them not having it. And in this matchup, you're behind from turn 0, right? So, you know, I have to just like search Onion Knight and play Onion Knight, play Cloud, and then hope that they stall out for like a turn or two because a lot of their smaller knights can't really swing over the 8K Cloud, like, you know, Laswell's a 5K and stuff. Or like Charlotte's a 5K and Delita's I think also a 5K. Leo they can't swing with either over the Cloud. You know, you got to just hope that you can get to like Refia untapping and then being able to like keep Ramza off the board before like stuff like that, right? You know, I don't feel too bad about how I played. Obviously, Dory played really well. He's an insanely strong player. And I mean, I think it's a little overblown. Like, you know, people, especially at the start of the set, were like, man, like Knights is really bad into top cut and stuff. You know, I think there was some bias because like in the Japan tournaments, like every single Knights player was losing round 1 in top cut. I think the deck's not as bad into top cut, but I think still like at least based on the data, to make it into top 4 with Knights is pretty impressive. So in a top 32. So yeah, that was my day 2. Were you gonna say something about the I feel like you were gonna say something. Or no?
Well, I was gonna ask about some of the plays.
Oh, yes.
When we were watching on stream, we were like, "Oh, why isn't he doing this or why is he doing that?"
Backseat driving.
Do you have actually the link to the VOD or you...
yeah, let me paste it for you.
All right.
I was actually like sort of watching it while you were talking. So early in game 1 against the mono water player, I remember we were like, because we were playing games also, so we were like half watching, half playing, and then I saw you were all set up, and I was like, "Oh, you got that!" Like, it was over. And then you, as you're saying, like you had like you were just like auto drawing every answer. You just like had it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like you were almost like goldfishing.
Yeah.
There was one play like when he played the Shinryu.
Yeah. Do you know
and
what
then
the
he had this
timestamp
search on
was?
stack? It was at 2 hours and something. Hold on.
It's fine if I know what the play was. I think I pulled it up like 2 hours 3 minutes.
Yeah. Somewhere around there. It was in game 2, right?
Yep.
I
have it up game 1.
Oh, I'm having game 1. Sorry,
Okay.
I forget. But we were like, oh, like why doesn't he? I guess we couldn't see how many cards John had in hand.
Mm-hmm.
But we were like, oh, why doesn't he tuck the Shinryu on with the search trigger on the stack?
Yeah.
So that he has to pay like 2 more to S essentially, like before the search.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was like our thing, and like, oh, like that let him board wipe for cheaper, basically.
Yeah. But so the thing is, I'm pretty sure he had, let me see really quick. Yeah, no, he had, I think, 1 or 2 cards in hand. So the him paying would not have, the extra 2 to replay the Shinryu would not have kept him off the board wipe, and I just wanted to get the body off the board, right? I feel like 2CP for a 9k Brave is pretty good value, so I'd rather just not give him that, Yeah, I guess any other, like...
Oh, and then there was the block, right, for the hedging on the Onion Knight in the Knights game.
Oh, in that game? Yeah, that was super greedy. Let me find it. I mean, it was like, I feel like if I got it, I was so ahead that I just had to go for it because, like, I was going to lose no matter what, right? Like, where is it?
I think that's an example of, like, really knowing your deck, like how much value there is, and really knowing your outs and playing to those outs. Like, even if it doesn't come up like that, I still think like that was a good decision, like, to be greedy there, because like against like such a bad matchup for you, like you got to play to those outs, right?
Yeah. So I have it pulled up. Basically, he swung with Corilla, and I have a Light Barts in Break Zone. I do have a Lena in the Break Zone, so I have 1 Lena in my deck that has like 35 cards left, right? But what I was going for is basically I think it's hard to see here. I have an untapped Lena and an untapped Seraphithel. So what I'm going for is block the Lena, block the Kurla with the Leo. It doesn't put me at damage 3, which is bad, obviously, because, Ferris. And Ferris would be able... So Ferris wouldn't be able to kill Kurla unless I played another Warrior of Light. And I don't have Bart's on field. So I can't, like, do any sort of cheese with that. I'd been pitching my Barts as early because, again, I wasn't going for that game plan immediately. So what I was trying to do is I reveal 5 off of the Light Barts. If I hit Lena, then I can Lena in the Onion Knight, and Onion Knight can kill the damage Kurla. I didn't hit it, obviously, but if I hit that, like, I have a Refia and an Onion Knight on board now. He just has the Laswell. I'm discard for the end of turn because Laswell's still on board, but I untap, I have 4 Warriors of Light on board. Like, I just start going off at this point. I think he might have had more cards in hand to... Oh, Jesus, yeah, he had, like, a full grip. So... I think it wasn't like I don't know what else he had in hand, but it still would have been like a good position even if he like played something else after this. But obviously, I didn't get it. I still went for it. It is what it is. Yeah. Definitely something that I feel like, having enough experience with the deck really helped like me find look for those kinds of lines, right, when I'm behind.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what like the experience gets you, like knowing what to go for and like the percentage points, right, of like going for this play versus that play.
Yeah. Yeah, was there anything else, I guess, that like stood out?
I think those are the 2 big ones from the stream.
Okay. Yeah, so
we had the whole store. We had the whole store. Even like the non-FF players, we were like, "Chris is playing."
Oh shit. That's awesome. Yeah, I guess how was your So day 2, I guess talk about like your round 1 and then also the side events because I didn't enter any of them. Emmanuel.
Oh, round 1 was pretty bad. I played against Wolf 7. Like I said, I didn't have the experience against the aggro deck. First game, I do remember having the Amat for the Wall 7 and starting to. I actually set up 3 backups. So I was starting to feel good, but he actually like what was it? He Vincent froze my backups, and then he used that Vincent to keep me off a specific color.
Mm-hmm.
Often enough where there was a point where I got color screwed, and it was the right play. He kept like the Lena
Mm-hmm.
down, forced me to draw. If I draw a ref, you have to draw another water card.
Who was your round 1 again?
Oh dang, forgot his name.
Oh no. I'm just
No,
trying to pull up his list.
no, I have it in the Materia Hunter. All tournaments. So my round 1 opponent was dang it.
Which deck was it again?
It was a Will Coghill.
7. Oh, Will. Yeah.
It was Will Coghill, right? So he was on a more traditional water Giga Wall list, more similar to what was played in Worlds last year. Not in the lightning focus build that's popular now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, no, it wasn't Will Coghill. No, I'm lying. It wasn't Will. It was oh my goodness, it wasn't Will. Who was it? Oh, it was I'm having problems. I am having a lot of problems. It was a Wall 7 deck. Oh, I remember the deck name. Hold on. It was Corey Mathias. He was also on that side because Will was in that list as well, like on the Cyan, Lena, blah 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 list. Corey was on his summons were like 3 Amat, 2 Levy.
Yep.
So it was a deck that basically said, "God, I hope you don't place it, Rendo, or I automatically lose." So he game 1, very very smart Vincent plays. I was very impressed with how he kept a lot of exactly the correct backups down, and it actually like paid off. Right, I did manage to get to 3 backups. I should have eventually been in a position where I go to Refia control, but he had, I think he wall specialed like 3 or 4 times. It was insane. And Vincent kept me from the fire I needed to Ferris get back in the game once he was out of walls, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So I lost that. Second game, I didn't have the Amat, but it was all right. It was a more one-sided game on his part. However, I did manage to recover very well, to the point where I had like I think 4 backups and a great line where I'm like, okay, I can Sarah FFL for the Arc, and Ferris, and then Arc the Ferris, right? Like the whole, you know, the line. Arc the Ferris, then get the Refia, play the Refia. I'm like, if I pull this line off, I win this game.
Mm-hmm.
He has 2 cards in hand and a water backup on tap.
Mm-hmm.
So I go, okay, he has to have exactly Amat and a fire card in hand to get out of this. Or the Levy, I already saw Levy, so less likely. But he has to have and he doesn't run that much fire, so I'm like, okay. Again, we go back to I can't play around it. Like I genuinely cannot play around this. This is how I win. And I play Sarah FFL. Basically dump my hand for it. And he goes, "Yep." And I go Arc, Fair, blah blah blah. And when I play the Arc, he does not have. He had the Almut, but he had the Leviathan too. So his 2 cards were Almut Leviathan. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, I lose, I guess. Right. So I lost. And then I went to side events and I said, okay, let me play the deck that I should have gone with, which was Mono Earth Chaos Arc.
Yeah. Can you link that? Can you link that?
No, because I made some changes.
Okay, never mind. I think was it similar to what Viridian brought?
Very similar. Difference was he's on Fusoya, and now I'm on Fusoya, but I was on Men in Black. And I have a spicy backup instead of Carbuncle. I play the Vanille 2-drop.
Wait, you said you are on Man in Black, or?
No, I was in the tournament. I since cut it, and I'm on Fusoya now. Like
gotcha. Okay.
But during that standard tournament, I was on one Men in Black, and I am on Vanille backup.
Yeah.
The one that removes a card from the break zone on entry and then taxes all your summons. That card has been fantastic. I've been more surprised than I have any right to be.
It's pretty good, yeah.
I was playing one of my friends' mono water deck, and his whole plan is like he has Yuna to get his summons to be cheaper. And sometimes I would go he would like Cooch, and I'm like, okay, pay 2 more for that, and he'd be like, I hate this so much. Because oftentimes it doesn't even cost me anything. Oftentimes I just have the backup up.
Yeah.
As normally. It's not like I'm deliberately leaving it up. It just happens that I have it up. And it's like, well, I'm taxing every summon you play. You'd be surprised how often that comes up. And removing a card on entry, kind of cool. Anyway, I won that event. Because I felt super comfortable with the deck. I knew every line. I actually tied in the finals with Joe. He was on Mono Water, and we wanted to play F5, so we said, we'll play this later. But I feel confident that I can beat Wall 7 Water, first of all, because it's one of my favorite decks, so I know it. But Joe is an extremely strong player, so it could have gone either way. But yeah. I don't feel like, I'm going to lose. I feel confident that I can beat that. I comfortably won that side of it.
Yeah. How many rounds is it?
5.
Okay.
Yeah. So I went technically 5-0 on that.
Well, 4-0-1.
4-0 tie, yeah, 4-0 tie. In the record, it's 5-0 because technically Joe conceded. I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
We got more playmats. We got some cool stuff. And I definitely felt way more comfortable with that deck than I did with Refi all week.
Yeah.
All weekend, I was like, this just feels good to me. So probably what I should be playing. And then I played F5, and I got to do cool things that I haven't done in years, and I felt very, very happy about it. I didn't do very well. My own fault. I hadn't eaten at like 4:30, 5 p.m. Because I'm an idiot. And I started to feel it right after that. I'm like, I should probably eat before this event, but there was no time between the standard event and the F5, and I really wanted to play F5. Like, I genuinely wanted to sit down with these old farts and play games, and they were awesome games. It was round 1
what
versus
were you playing?
Sergio.
What deck were you playing?
Oh, I was playing Wind Water standard units.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it's a deck that's meant to not counter, but do well against the boogeyman of the format, which was Earth, Wind, Dalaluma, because you get Ranger, which was an untargetable.
The one that's playing like 4 band cards.
Yeah, the deck that has like 4 band cards on it. I mean, Dalaluma, I was laughing because you were saying, like, we were talking about like how when you're online with Refi and 4 backups, you kind of feel like, I don't lose this game. It was exactly the same at that time when you had like Dalaluma and 2 Cactuars. You're like, how do I lose? I'm just gonna kill everything you play. You kill the Dalaluma, I bring it back. I was like, I don't care. So I got to face that beast round 1, but I'm playing the simplest card in the game. It's a 3 CP Ranger that says this card cannot be chosen by abilities. It's a 3 CP and then you buff it with your backups. You play Maria, you play Arc, that buffs standard units. So you have this big beefy 9k untargetable that they literally can't do anything about without something. And even then you just, like, protected with like Y'shtola and Zidane.
Mm-hmm.
So I won that match. Second match it was versus Mono Lightning, a good friend of mine, Jesse Sims, who has been a Mono Lightning player forever, just like I used to be. He actually in 2018 Nats, he knocked me out of top um 16 or top 32 in a Mono Lightning mirror. It was super, and I told him, and then he actually won the whole F5 event.
Hmm.
And I was like, "You're really gonna beat me with my own deck, huh?" He's like, "Yep, you should have brought this." And he had an insane start, like insane start, where like it was like hasters all around, and he beat me to death, and I actually managed to like, God, I love F5 so much. It's like one of those where you're behind, but you're like, I can get back from this, right?
Mhm.
Because my opponent's not gonna omelet my answer. Right? and I managed to like slowly creep in, and I had like a ranger blocking everything, and he had like the 7 CPO, and he cast it and killed me. The funny thing is, the first thing I hear, um, coming from another table, was I think Viridian faced him round one,
Mhm.
and I just hear Viridian go, "Oh, I lost to EX Odin," and I tell him that is the most F5 thing I've ever heard. I lost to EX Odin. That's like the most 2017 Final Fantasy TCG phrase ever uttered. And I lost to it too, not EX. He hardcast it because, hey, turns out paying 7 for kill something was good back in the day.
Oh my god, I can't imagine.
And my third round was versus John, who was on Mono Water,
Mm-hmm.
playing his favorite card, which is the 3CP Garnet Summoner. I feel that that's a card that you would like as well. That was like that was Rydia before Rydia.
Okay, is it the one that was like
You pay 2 waters and you can cast a summon at cost 3 or less from your hand for free.
Oh shit, yeah.
And then every time you cast a summon, your whole board gets buffed by 1k, and she cannot be chosen by summons.
Oh shit.
That's a lot of text for a card from like Opus 2 or 3. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So they use that to cast off color stuff like Brynhilder
Oh.
and cool stuff.
Wait, that's so sick.
Yeah, and it buffs their board, right? So like they have like it's a mono water deck with like the walk up backup that buffs all water forwards, and then
Mhm.
all their stuff is 1k more, and then you have to be afraid of Garnet because it's like, oh well, their stuff might be 9k. What do I do, right?
Yeah. Interesting.
And yeah, it's a really really cool deck. His Garnets are like signed by Kageyama or something. There was
That's dope.
we were shooting the shit the entire time. But yeah, he beat me. He eventually got to a position. Okay, I opened no backups, or like 1 backup. It was so bad. No, I actually had to go pain, like 3 CP pain, to search a backup and play it. I was like, all right, it's over. Eventually he got to a point where it was like, I just can't handle this board. It just kept like getting bigger and bigger, and he would just like be like, you can't even like swing into me because I could have a Brynhilder in hand, and if I do, like, you're out, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, he beat the shit out of me. And then after that, I decided, you know what, I'm gonna eat. Red light chicken, very good chicken.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it for me. Like the rest of the day was catching up with old friends, talking about other stuff, and finally watching the finals in a Tesla. We were sitting because they kicked us out of the store, right? It was basically like, no, if you weren't like with them, you had to like leave because the store closed. And we were watching in the car, and we saw that insane game 3.
Mm-hmm. Like I went out with a bunch of the people to a bar for dinner afterwards, and like I think like 4 people had their phones out all watching the last game.
When that last turn came where
Yep.
The Shinryu turn.
Yeah.
Where I
that
was like,
crazy.
I was tweaking because I tell my friends he bottomed that Shinryu turn like 2 or 3 with Operate.
Mm-hmm.
and somehow it made its way back into the bottom because he did shuffle his deck
Yeah.
a couple of times with Realm and stuff like that. And that Shinryu made it back to the very bottom of the deck. And he had to draw exactly. I remember, like, I was looking at Sam's board. I'm like, he has to draw exactly Shinryu. And I'm like, and I don't remember seeing it. I think it's still in the deck. And when that turn happened, like we screamed. It was like a sporting event. Like it felt like our team won. It was like we started screaming because it was so insane to witness that.
Yeah.
And I tell it, I'm like, that is now the best play in any card game I've ever seen ever. The best ending. Like you had to draw the exact card, swing through, and not hit any X in 3 cards. And he did exactly that. So the match was gonna end either by that or by suicide by Lena, and that would have been insane as well.
Yeah, it was like down to the wire. Yeah.
No. Like by definition, if you look for the phrase "down to the wire" in Google right now, it's a clip of that. I've never seen anything like that in my life. And that was it. It wasn't a very exciting day too. The standard was good. I did get a Squall playmat for sale.
Nice.
If anyone wants it. A lot of pricing, and best of all, got to go back to my old hometown, right? Or not hometown, but my old grounds where I lived for five years and see all the people. That was the best part.
Yeah, I feel like our experiences were just kind of the opposite, where it's like for you it was like you were going back to your hometown or back to your old stomping grounds, meeting up with a bunch of people who you haven't seen in a bit. And meanwhile, for me, it's like I've never been to Chicago, right? This is my first major tournament, right? You're introducing me to all these people. Everyone that I met this weekend was so nice. Like I've played other competitive games before, but like I feel like I've never like been around a community where like every single person that I have met this weekend was like chill as fuck. Like everyone was so cool to meet and super nice to chat with and everything. This game rocks.
I told you that's why I keep playing it, man. It's if I was smarter and I wanted to make money, I would be playing like One Piece or something. That's where the money is, and I know that some of our players are doing that now. But the solid gameplay plus the insane community just keeps me hooked. It's unreal how much of like familiarity there is with all of these are like the type of like lifelong friends that you make, right? Where you're gonna meet up once a year, right? And it's gonna be a whole party the entire time. So that's why I keep coming back, man. But
yeah, and I mean, thank you for like introducing me to people all throughout the weekend, because I feel like, I'm a bit of a shy person, so having you there always like, hey, have you like met my friend Chris? It was actually like really helpful. So I appreciate that.
I promise, he plays really well.
But yeah, I feel like this was also just like I wanted to mention it like after talking about my round. It was also like a good confidence boost. Obviously, I placed much higher than I thought. But like I was chatting with Dory and Hunter after my match against Dory, and Dory was telling me like, yeah, I saw that there was no Toto, and I knew that I could go wide, right? And similarly, like I think Hunter was like, yeah, I really like Bosch and Toto in these lists, in these kinds of lists. And I was just like, yeah, but I play a lot of on Octagon and stuff, and don't really play much like open deck list formats and stuff. And so like I wasn't really planning on like, or I wasn't really expecting to like make Top Cut or anything. And Hunter just told me like why? Right? And I was just like, huh, like maybe I should like have a little bit more confidence.
That's such a Hunter thing to say.
Yeah.
Why, bro? Just get good, bro.
I like I said, it was I chatted with Dory and Hunter after, and they were also like both super super nice. But yeah, just like the I feel like I'm you know I feel like I have a little bit more confidence than I had going in. Obviously, I did get lucky as well, right? So I will acknowledge that I'm still gonna keep on the grind. Probably practice another deck so that when Wall 4 gets banned, inevitably, I can switch to something else. But yeah, super super fun weekend. I'm so glad that I went out. This is definitely like gonna be the highlight. Well, actually, I was gonna say gonna be the highlight of my year, but I mean, I'm gonna be going to LA in September, so I need you to qualify so you can come out with me.
I mean, not to be a doomer, but this will definitely be the highlight of your year because I'm not a big fan of.
I also haven't visited LA, so yeah, I don't know how to say this.
I hope you enjoy it, brother. I've been a couple times, and if it wasn't for the people there, I would definitely not have.
The highlight of the year is when you go to Tokyo for Worlds.
Oh my god! All right,
that's a highlight. That's a highlight. I agree.
When are you traveling out to stuff, Pat?
So I'm going to Chicago this weekend.
Oh my god.
That's not the weekend you need to go to Chicago.
I booked the wrong flight. Unfortunately, I had a work thing in Chicago this weekend, so I couldn't make it out last weekend. And then that means I'm missing the New York LQ at the Uncommons, which is this Sunday.
Yep.
So just super bad timing all around.
Me, Emmanuel, you're going to that too, or?
Yeah, I'm going.
Okay, so me and Emmanuel will be there.
It's literally my birthday, so.
Oh shit!
And you all just. Give
happy
me
early
for free.
I guess my first event is the one at our own locals at Greg's Games.
Do you want to plug that?
Then, yeah, Greg's Games in Hamilton, New Jersey, Princeton area. Come one, come all.
Father's Day.
Yes, Father's Day. It's so I'm Taiwanese, so we actually don't celebrate Father's Day on the Western Father's Day. We have our own one, so I'm in the clear. Then my next one is the one in Paoli, Pennsylvania, like the Philly area.
Oh shit!
Which is unfortunately it's like the Dawn Trail release weekend.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be out of town. Yeah.
So, but I'm gonna play that. I guess anything Final Fantasy counts for that weekend.
Yeah.
And then I think there's another one in Long Island in August that I plan to go to.
Yes, that's the one in whatever it's called, comics.
Yeah.
I gotta sign up for these. I don't think I like registered what was happening after R1.
Are you guys going to that other one this weekend? There's like one in Pennsylvania, right, on Saturday.
Oh, there's no fucking shot that I'm gonna be able to travel. I do not have the stamina for that, bro.
Is it mainline chess or
Banished? No, mainline is the one end of June.
Banished Zone you're talking about?
Wait, isn't that like Western Pennsylvania?
Yeah, that's far, bro.
No. There's another one in Pennsylvania that was like an hour and 20 from us.
No, which one?
Isn't that mainline?
Jason Games. That's the only one.
No. There's another one.
Okay. Well, regardless, no. I'm visiting friends in New York on the Saturday, and then spend the night in New York so that I get a good night's sleep before the LQ.
The the Banished Zone, Wernersville,
Mm.
Pennsylvania.
Yes, that's far.
Yeah, isn't that like far as fuck? I'm sure some insane
Not
people are gonna do that this weekend. So, but not me.
Oh no, it's actually an hour and 50 from me. Never mind.
Yeah, it's not that far.
Wait, really? Oh.
Okay, I'll go with that. Never mind.
Oh my god. Wait, no, not with Pat, because it's this
No,
weekend.
I'm in Chicago.
Yeah, you got to do that. You're doing the road trip. I'm not.
2 hours by myself? Or you're tweaking? No. All right.
Yeah, but for my deck lists, I've been partial to the Water Lightning recently.
That deck's
But
so fun.
I mean, I'm pretty scared of all the Mist Dragons in the meta right now, and just the general graveyard hate,
Dude,
which is like it's like incidental graveyard hate.
like-
It's not even like targeted for. It's just like, oh, it happens at a third mode.
No, everyone's including it because of the break zone hate. But like, dude, so many people are running fucking Demon this weekend. Like, I feel like I haven't seen that card in months.
Like I said, like breaks and removal, I think is more important now than ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it makes me sad. But you know, I'm teching some stuff against that, so hopefully we'll see.
We'll see. I believe. You kicked my butt in fucking all of our casual matches, so like I feel like surely you're gonna do well.
I'm just a cash.
It is a scary deck,
yeah.
for sure. When it does the thing, and when you don't account for hasty math, and you just definitely go, I'm at 3 damage. Why am I suddenly dead?
Yeah.
And yeah,
that deck's fucking scary. You'll do well.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Let's
see if I can go.
I'm already telling you I'm not. I've already made plans in New York on the Saturday.
I'm gonna get drunk the night before.
I'm actually going to a graduation party for my friend is throwing a graduation party for some of her friends for grad school. So
that sounds like getting drunk like with extra steps, right? Like
I mean, I literally did that this weekend, so
all right, there you go. And you did well. That's why
it worked. Yeah, no. I guess any like closing thoughts about the metagame as a whole, or like moving forward, what we think. I already kind of mentioned a little bit that I'm expecting Wolf 4 to get hit eventually. Just kind of enables a lot of decks, but I don't know. Judging from like their very slow to ban mentality, like I think I was telling a friend, like Sildra came out in like Opus 12 and didn't get banned until Opus 19. Like I feel like this came out in Opus 19. We gotta wait till Opus 26 till this gets banned.
Yep. I agree. I think I would be a little more aggressive with the bans, especially because some of these cards are now like a couple of sets older. And as they get older and harder to get, they get more expensive, and they get more limiting also to new players.
Yeah,
so that's also
especially in the NA market. Oh my god.
Yeah. So I think that there should be some hits. Hopefully soon, so that we see a little bit of variety. If I was like really, really aggressive, and wanted to like shake up the meta, like I would do like probably like 4 or 5 bans.
All right, list them out. I want to hear them. Your hot takes.
Like if I want to like shake up the meta really, really badly, I would go like Wolf 4.
Yep.
Chaos.
Interesting. Do you think Chaos would be an issue if Wolf 4 is banned?
I don't know if it would be an issue, but the deck is like really good, right? So like if I'm talking like I want to shake it up, like
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
the meta, like these top decks.
Because Yu-Gi-Oh does that, right? Where they like just kind of ban stuff to shake up the meta. Yeah, like if you were doing that kind of ban mentality,
I would do like Wolf 4, I would do like Chaos. I would do like probably Man, I don't want to ban Wall 7, but it's such a I feel like people would just like all gravitate to that eventually.
If we're doing like Yu-Gi-Oh style bans, this is like the first thing on the fucking chopping block. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Sure. I would go like Luso.
Yeah. I wonder what it comes out of.
Luso, it's like two out of three, either Luso, Lulu, or Zidane. Two or three. Two of those.
Yeah.
Get rid of two of those. And let me see. That's four of them. Fifth one would be. I don't know. Give me ideas.
I don't know.
Oh,
what other decks? Oh, Laswell? Really?
Or like.
I can see that. Again, like we're not advocating for banning this like right now. It's more like if in a theoretical world, if they had a different ban philosophy, like sort of banning to shake things up. Yeah, what would be like, the most interesting?
It would probably be Laswell. That'd be like one other that has like.
I think that'd be a decent shake-up, yeah.
Yeah, because it like a lot of ice decks gravitate around.
Yeah. What about like Rufus though, as like a?
Yes.
I feel like it's not as like omnipresent as of like a ban.
No, but it's there. It would be in my sights for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
What do you think, Pat?
Tyro.
Tyro?
Oh Lord.
Yeah, because I mean, not like I think in terms of the way we're thinking.
Yeah, like shaking it up.
Like shaking it up. It would change a lot of LB decks.
That is true.
I agree. You know what?
What about Toto then? Again, we should not ban Toto, but
yeah, I don't think that's different. I think because 7 is a lot higher and a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it also has that ETB, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, so does Tyro, but
Tyro has EX, which is like what?
Tyro's EX, and at 5, having that multicolor.
Yeah.
But just being able to like play Cloud LB just because you have Tyro in your deck is pretty strong. Yeah. I'm curious how this card is going to shake out as more LBs come out, because we have seen. I mean, people did talk about how strong Tyro was going to be when LB as a mechanic was announced. And I feel like a lot of us are just like, no, like, come on. Like, nobody's going to put in like a random lightning card in their LB deck, in their water lightning, or in their water earth deck just because they have Tyro in it. And I mean,
we totally did.
Yeah.
Literally. Everyone does.
But it's not, it doesn't feel, and I think this will be my last one on this. I am so glad that LB doesn't feel as broken as
I agree.
Thank God.
Yeah, thank God. Like you can tell they really put a lot of like thought and effort into this. I was having a conversation with John about this at the bar after, about like specifically Leo LB. And I think I had made like a comment about like, I think like Leo's the only LB that I think is like actively a mistake. But I feel like he gave me a good argument as to why, like, you know, Leo's obviously like like, if not the best LB, like arguably one of, you know, it's very arguable for the best LB, right? Like you could argue Tidus Cloud, Surges, you know, those cards might be better, but it's definitely like up there, right? Like it is really strong. But like it's doing what they wanted it to do. You know, it's pushing water in a direction of having a proactive LB deck, which feels different from the other LBs and stuff, right? Like it's doing what it has been like intended to do. And it doesn't, like, I still like have mixed feelings about the play patterns that he kind of enables, right? Of like having a dead hand and just kind of getting a free draw and sort of like being able to play a bit greedier and keep greedier hands and stuff like that. But overall, I mean, like I think he's fun, which I think is the most important thing, right?
Right.
I think he's a fun card to play with, and I think all of the LBs kind of fall in that category. Like, they all have a very different feel, and none of them feel like your opponent plays them, and it's like none of them are like Zidane, right? Like none of them your opponent plays, and you're just like, fuck my life, right? They feel really like well balanced. Maybe Surges is like the only one that's kind of like that, but even then, like knowing that your opponent has it is also makes the mechanic a lot more fun, I feel like.
Yeah, and draining draining the LB as a resource
Yeah.
is kind of cool too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes, if I'm later in the game and I like have not used my LB deck at all, I'm like, okay, then I have gaps for
Yeah.
the entirety of the game. It feels like there's a game of chicken
Mm-hmm.
of who holds on to their LB the
Well,
longest.
like I can definitely feel it when I like cast Leo and Cloud, and it's like, well, I've gotten rid of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't cast Titus anymore. Right?
Yeah, my options are done.
Like you have like it feels like, you know, there is an opportunity cost at least a little bit. I don't think there's enough yet with Leo. I think the only decks that really have an opportunity cost with casting Leo are the ones that are playing Cloud and Tidus, right?
Yeah.
But even like playing Leo means you can't play your second Tidus, right?
Yep.
So I feel like as LBs, more stronger LBs come out and the opportunity cost kind of raises for Leo, I think he's going to feel the decision point for casting Leo is going to be a lot more interesting.
Agreed.
How do you feel about LB Pat? Before we
I'm a fan. I like it,
Mhm.
and same as you, Leo's the best. In the lightning deck,
Mhm.
like Cloud and Leo are all stars. I had lightning in it,
Mhm.
but since it's like sort of a dredge deck, you want stuff in your graveyard. Like a lot of times, I don't really want to take a card back
Yeah.
and like actively decrease my graveyard count.
Do you run Ixion? I feel like that's the main
No,
card
I
that I
don't.
love taking back with Lightning. Yeah, especially if you don't
Yeah,
run Ixion, then it's
yeah.
like, yeah.
I'm looking forward to the Tom Berry Cactuar
Oh yeah.
dual color
Oh,
one.
that's gonna be interesting. Yeah.
Read the
Yeah,
deck. Rise up.
and it's lightning water. It's torpedo. So let's go.
Yeah, Riku decks are gonna be insane when we but like it
Oh
doesn't
my
matter what
god.
kind of text that has, it also reads get an earth forward back.
Yep.
Good.
That's pretty fucking good. It is interesting how like the multicolors, because obviously we were just talking about wall 4. You know, I think that the biggest upside to this card is that it's multicolor, and for LB cards it's going to be a downside, right? Like they're
Yeah,
putting
it's pure
those cards
downside.
specifically for certain archetypes. But even like it's not like Magic where like, you know, you can only put a fire or a red blue card in a deck that's playing like islands and, well, I don't know. I guess I don't know the other formats too, like Legacy and stuff too much. Maybe it's a lot easier to run, but like multicolor in FF is usually an upside, and in other games it's usually a downside. And here it's like strictly a downside, but like it's for the LB deck. I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, it's in Magic it's strictly like a downside usually.
What? Yeah. Now I'm just thinking, what if wall 4 was wall 6 and it was all the non-light dark colors, but it didn't have the like have to be with backups rider, and it was an LB card.
Wait, what?
Like
wait.
it was every color, like wall is every color, but an LB. So 6 mana.
So you have to have all 6 colors, but also 6 mana, but you can't spend. So you have to. So you always have to overpay for it. So it's a 7 mana card.
You always have to overpay for it. So 7, all 6 colors.
Bro, whatever that does, it's getting Ahmad. Like,
I agree. It's getting Ahmad.
I feel like they could do a lot of really cool stuff though, like that with the LB deck.
Yeah, like the dual color cards could be a lot stronger.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, the other thing is just that like I feel like it's probably not too hard, especially in like with cards like Tyro in the format, to splash for other colors a lot of the time. Like Earth Water, if it plays Tyro, is going to be able to play that Tonberry, right?
Yep.
So yeah, we'll see.
I just want to see what they do.
Yeah, Sam. I just want more spoilers, man.
Yeah, I feel like we're kind of due for.
I think they start in a
spoilers
few weeks.
Yeah.
For
too slow.
the August set.
That's too slow, man.
Yeah, I guess any other like closing thoughts before we call it here?
No. Format's fun. Event was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do it again.
Wish you should come, Pat. Or wish you could have
Yeah.
come.
Me too. It's okay. I stayed home so you could qualify, Chris.
Damn.
Actually.
Holy shit.
Never heard
fucked up.
I've never heard of, but yeah.
It's fine because I qualified now. That means it'll be easier for you to qualify.
Okay.
Thanks, Chris.
That'll be free for me now.
All right.
I'm messing.
Yeah, Sam. All right. Well, thanks for listening to us ramble about our experience in Chicago and the set as a whole and everything for like 2.5 hours. Yeah, hope to see more of y'all. Like I said, really, really fun event. Hope to see y'all at Nats and other events. Come out to Greg's Games, Hamilton, New Jersey. Please. All right, later.